Okay. We are live on both LinkedIn and Facebook. No place in the world that I would rather be right now. Without further ado, on today's episode of Playing Small is Canceled, we have a very exclusive treat. He is a dynamic NFL running back currently playing for the Washington Commanders. Originally an undrafted free agent, he has carved out an outstanding career in the NFL with his resilience and skill set and unwavering desire to be all that he can be. After a plethora of impressive seasons with the Los Angeles Chargers, he just signed with the Commanders, and I believe he's just getting warmed up. He's a multifaceted entrepreneur who has a plethora of businesses and a work ethic that is second to none. Please welcome the hardworking, committed, trailblazing, beautiful soul, and game-changing NFL and entrepreneur hybrid, the powerful Austin Ekeler. How you
Look
doing,
at
Austin?
that intro. That's an intro right there, man. I appreciate it. Well done. Well done. I appreciate that respect and I appreciate that intro. It's an honor to be back on the show with you. Can you tell me a little bit about the title of the show?
Yeah, playing small is canceled.
Yeah, planes. Where does that stem from?
Yeah, you know what, brother? I'm a strange cat, and we live in cancel culture now. And people want to cancel people for a lot of different reasons, different opinions, and so forth. What I think we should really cancel right now is playing small. And I think that so many people that are in our community and audience want to do something so much more with their life, play bigger, achieve
Yeah.
success, fulfillment,
Okay.
abundance. And when I think of you, you embody playing bigger. You do so many different things. You don't just settle for one, and you're always looking to ascend to new levels of expansion.
Yeah,
And
I think
one,
actually, if I could jump in right there, because I don't want people to feel like, oh, Austin does all these huge things, because it didn't start out like that, like yeah, absolutely you want to ascend, but it all started with one simple, usually job, right? It was whether it was football, whether it was going to school, and then it blossomed from there. But so now, looking, after I've been doing this kind of stuff for 10 years, yeah, it looks like Austin's doing everything, but no, I just started doing one thing at a time and kept compiling.
and it compounds, right? It's like long game. You're building that vessel to be able to receive, but it's compounding over time.
Exactly. And then really what compounded for me was my capabilities. And then my capabilities allowed me to, what I mean by that is my connections, my education, my self-awareness, and so on and so forth. And that allowed me to bring on more responsibility. And then that allowed me to have more actions that happened and more executable things to go and do and more opportunities and more results that came. And now I have a whole plethora of things that have been built up over time, but it did not start like this. No, sir.
Yeah, I love it, brother. And thank you for clarifying that. And it just goes to, it's a testament to the long game mentality. Not that success will take super long, but it's the mentality that everything I'm doing is building to where I want to go. Um, so many places we could take this. First of all, congratulations, brand new city. Welcome to the East Coast. And
Yes.
there's some, I know a thing or two about reinvention. You're not necessarily reinventing yourself, just kind of shifting teams and so forth. But isn't there something so exciting and invigorating about kind of like a fresh start?
Yeah, absolutely. I think as just humans, I think it's human nature to become more comfortable in your setting. And that can be a bad thing if you let it. It doesn't have to be a bad thing, but you just get used to the things around you. You're familiar with things. You get a routine set, and that drive and the spark that really helped you set that routine has kind of faded because you've gotten to a place where you can be repetitive and hopefully it's a place where it helps you be successful. And now it started over for me, right? So for me now, I have new energy to figure out what my routine's going to be. How can I put something together just like I had in LA out here that helps me be successful? So now it's kind of a new beginning, as I like to say. I love new news because it's new things that I'm able to go and express my ambition, express my will to want to conquer and overcome and succeed. And so that's exactly what this is. It's the same thing, but doing it in a different place, a new atmosphere here on the East Coast, and almost for me as a Division II undrafted player into the NFL, for me it's the same mentality every single year. As I have to prove myself every single year, and now I'm doing it in a new country or a new state with a new team and a new logo. So it's exciting.
I feel like that's one of the many reasons why you've been so successful in life, brothers, because you have that mentality. Like, even, I mean, all that people have to do is just look at your track record and resume. They know that you're one of the best, but yet you still maintain that mentality. Like, I haven't arrived. I still have something to prove. And then it's
Yeah.
that chip on your shoulder, right?
Yeah, well, for me, that's where I find fulfillment, and I don't know about others, but even actually, let me refer back to this. I just made a post the other day, and it was a picture of me when I think I was like 14 in this picture, and I was building fence. That's what I used to do in the summers. I used to build barbed wire fence. It was on my story, so I don't know if you can find it right now, but it reminded me, like, when I was that age, I still had the desire and the drive to want to be a better version of myself, and that fire still lives within me today. And so it really, the only thing that's changed is I've made progress, and I've continued to expand on that progress and take advantage of new opportunities that have come. And so I think that's, talking to what you're talking about as far as my success and my journey and the compounding interest. And that's exactly what it's been. It's been, hey, let me take my current situation, whatever it is. At that time, I didn't want to be building fence. I was playing sports, going to school, building fence in the off season, and that's or in the summer. And that was my life. And so it was something that I didn't want to be around. I was like, okay, I don't want to be doing manual labor anymore because this sucks. Doing it, like, I hated it. So it gave me the spirit to, okay, like, let me use this to build myself up, learn how to work hard. At the time, I wasn't thinking about that, but that's what it taught me. Is I learned how to work hard. I learned how to push myself. I learned how to want to go and want to do more than what I had at the time. And then you can apply that to any opportunity that you have, and that's what I've continued to do and rinse and repeat. I get an opportunity, whether it's in real estate, for example, and I'm house hacking now. Okay, let me start house hacking. Let me start flipping homes, and so I start to learn. And now I'm learning. I find people that want to scale. I also want to scale. I had the funds at the time to be able to actually go and do that, but I had to build them up. I wasn't able to do it right away, and then I had found partners, and then we went. Now we have a real estate fund, right? And then I have an app too. We'll get into that probably later on, but I wanted to connect with fans and I wanted to do it in a better way. And so what did I do? I started streaming. So I'm streaming like 8 people at a time. Like, no one's watching Austin. They don't know who I am. But then I started to be more attractive as far as my personality. I started to open up a little bit, started to have more success on the field. And all of a sudden now I'm streaming to 300 people at a time. And so it's all this to say, it's all started on a simple state and has it continued to build and grow. And it's no different with my career and my path.
This is so beautiful, brother. Thank you for the vulnerability there, and this is awesome. And I want to ask you, this kind of deep, but we love the deep stuff. You have such an unwavering desire. It's so impressive, and it's so obvious based upon all the different projects that you work on. Something I always wrestle with in regards to people that come to you for coaching and so forth is, can you teach someone desire, or do you have to have that within you based upon your experience?
I don't think you can teach it, but I do believe you can. It's hard to have. I was actually thinking about this the other day. It's like, can I teach someone to be? I wouldn't want to. I don't. It's not that I don't want to teach it. Yes, I would want to teach it if I could, but then it's not authentic. Like, I feel like with this topic of a desire and a will to want to go and push in some direction, whatever that is, it needs to come from within. So I think you can be put in an environment where you learn how to do that and learn what that means. But I don't think you can directly learn how to want to do that, so to speak. I feel like you have to go experience things.
Mm.
You have to be the one that's pulling the levers, making decisions, getting burned, having success, failures, all of that, to nurture you to the point where you're like, okay, I have a path of desire that I know I want to go down. Because for you, like Craig, I can't be like, okay, Craig, this is how you need to go forward. Like, and this is what you need to do, because your experience is a lot different than mine. So your desire to want to do things isn't going to match mine. So I don't think it could be taught, but I do think it can be nurtured by your environment.
Beautifully said. And one thing that I see is, if you don't have the desire awakened that you'd like to, if you have the desire to have the desire, that's something we can harness.
There
But you
you
got
go. There
to
you go.
listen.
And you see this a lot. You've heard it said before, but like, you are a product of your environment. You're a product of your closest 3 friends and all those sayings. So, like, that's the pretty much the same thing as what we're saying here, is that you will be conditioned by what you surround yourself with, not because you're intentionally thinking of every little aspect of how it's affecting your life, but because you're not actually. you're not thinking about how being around these people are affecting you or making your decisions go this way or that way. But when you put things around you that you enjoy, you think are positive or good or desirable, then there's these little subconscious decisions that are going to be made that you think you're making the decision, but really it's a product of, hey, this is what the culture is around you. And so now you start to have a desire. And that's what I grew up around. I grew up around sports. I grew up around grinding out, like I said, building barbed wire fence. And then also I grew up with my mom, a teacher. And so it was like, it's education and it's working hard and it's competing. Like that was my environment. And I grew up in that since I was able to walk, playing soccer, basketball, football, baseball. At 6 years old, I'm out watering for the livestock, for horses, for cows. I'm pitching hay. We're building fence. I used to play with the nails in the dirt. And when we were building the fence, you ran everywhere. There was no like, oh, let's go out and build the fence today, guys. It was like, no, we get this done efficiently. We're running. We're getting a quarter mile done a day. We're stringing wire. It's hot. It don't matter. We're getting it done. And so that was the environment that I was in. That's how I've kind of nurtured my mind. That's how my mind has been nurtured to what it is today. And that expands across everything that I'm involved in.
Yeah. Brother, I love the way you think. It's so impressive, and it's a lot deeper than people might really think. I'm just curious, like, where are you at with your spirituality? Is that something that's important to you, like spiritual practices?
Man, it's a topic that I'm still kind of all over the place with, because for me it's like I don't wish harm upon people. Like I am trying to put resources and energy into helping people be a better version of themselves, just as I am for myself. And so I find fulfillment in that. And like at the end of the day, for me, I don't know what to believe of spirituality, of things like that. But I do know that if I were even to die right now, instantly, like I am like so fulfilled in my life, where it's like, this is what I'm wanting to do. I want to build myself, but also hopefully have in some type of, impression on the others around me to want to do the same. And so I'm playing the long game as far as where I find fulfillment. And so that gives me spirit, I guess, some type of spirituality. Like I find, I don't know. I'm conflicted in that space.
Yeah, no, I love it. And you're on the path, right? And that's really beautiful. And you mentioned something pretty deep there. Like if your human experience came to an end, you're proud of where you're at because you're in alignment and you're going for it and you're on the pursuit.
Yeah, that's so well said, because the pursuit is the fulfillment.
Mm.
Like for me, looking at even my football career, and me getting to the NFL, like that journey was so special to me. The ups and downs, the articles of me being overlooked, and I didn't go to a big school. I went to a small school. I went to a Division II. You probably never heard of, Western Colorado University. And I went through, and I was grinding summers. I left the day I graduated to go work out and get a team, get a job up there so I could sustain myself, and be around the team earlier on. And going through living with a little and making a lot out of a little has taught me so much. And I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful. I look back, I was looking at some of my Facebook posts the other day from like 10 years ago. And I'm talking about mindset and drive and be a better version of yourself. And I'm like, man, I'm so proud of that kid. And I know where he came from. I know where he came from, times where, hey, he didn't like his environment, wanted to have a better environment. And he put step by step, put himself in a better situation by taking action and going and doing things. And so it's one of these things that I feel like you continue to build. You continue to build, like I said at the very beginning.
No, that was beautiful, brother. And you're building a vessel, and it's cool to see, going back 10 years, that you've always been developing yourself. Like personal development is a phrase that gets thrown around a lot. I think a lot of people listen to different things, some of our mutual friends, but I don't know if they actually take the time to develop. It's one thing to consume it, it's another thing to develop yourself all the time.
Well, it's the great topic. What is developing yourself personally? What is that? But what does that mean? We talk about this thing. This kind of just reminded me, in sports, we talk about a standard. Like you got to hold the standard. Like there's a standard. Well, if you don't know what the standard is, then how can I hold you accountable? How can you hold yourself accountable? Let's bring it back to what we just said. What does it mean to go out there and actually better yourself? Like what are the tangible things that you can do so you can hold yourself accountable to that? And those are things that you have to identify for yourself. For me, number one has always been number one since I was back 12 years old, has been working out. Working out has helped me just mentally, has helped me physically. And then that's just one of my aspects. Another one, as I've gotten older, has been networking, has been learning. I love watching YouTube videos and listening to people that have been in space. I'm not a big reader. I definitely read a few books, have a few I'd recommend, but it's like I love to bring in information. I love to listen to people that are in the industry that I'm interested in. So learning, being physically active helps your mind and all that stuff as well. Those are like tangible things that you can do to continue to better yourself. Have your network around you. Like where are you at? This is a big one. Understanding that the opportunity that you have right now is the opportunity that is going to lead to the next one. Like what you do right now is going to, so if you're like, you know what, I have this job, I hate this job. Well, guess what? If you're not applying yourself, it doesn't even have to be because you want to move up in that corporate structure or whatever like that. But the way you're applying yourself right now is going to leak over into what you're going to apply yourself into later, because you're conditioning yourself to be, okay, well, I can be lazy because I don't like this or I don't want to do this. Well, if you have a principle where no matter what you're doing, if you're involved in it, you're going to put your best foot forward and make your impact and do your job, that carries over to your next opportunity as well. So you need to take with what you have right now as if it's the most important, because it is, because it's going to lead to the next as far as opportunities. And so those are tangible things that you can focus on to help better yourself as an individual. And I'll just give a summary. It was, for me, physically, my education, my connections, my surroundings, and taking advantage of what I have now and make sure I try to maximize it, because I know that energy will carry over to the next.
You're so fired up right now. This is awesome. Unbelievable.
This is just how I am generally, so, so I'm not even fired up. You don't want to see me fired up, because then I won't stop talking.
Fair enough. But everything creates waves, right? And if you don't know what you should be doing, sometimes it's not the thing, but it's exactly the thing that leads to the thing. But you'll never know unless you get in the damn arena and start taking positive steps forward. And then also, we talked about spirituality before. I believe that when you activate that desire and you show your effort, there's an old expression that fortune favors the bold. I think it's even a little deeper than that. Whatever anyone listening believes in, whether it's the creator, quantum, universe, whatever the case may be, it's going to meet you when when it sees your desire. It's more likely to open up doors, opportunities, or provide assistance. But that only happens when you take some sort of messy action.
What do you mean by messy action?
What I mean by that is you don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to wait for the perfect time. Just get going. Doesn't
Yep.
have to be pretty. Sometimes it's just messy. I mean, like, for example, when I first started this and, some of my first pieces of content, I look back, brother, and it's embarrassing. But you know
Oh
what?
yeah.
If you're not embarrassed with who you were a year ago, you're probably not growing enough.
Very
So
true.
there's so much to be said about taking messy action and cultivating that courage. And that's usually when great things begin to happen. There's
Yeah.
never the perfect time to do anything.
And I want to add on to that too, because I think this is important. But you know, we all have a path that we might see ourselves going down, and really, I think we see the end. Maybe not the path. Maybe we don't see the path. I think the path doesn't really deploy itself until you actually know what the end point is. But then the end point can also be a little discouraging because it can seem so far off. And so I think it's super important, and this is something that I've always continued to live by. As far as I try to not compare myself to others if I can, because we're on different wavelengths, as you were mentioning. We're also not necessarily going towards the same focal point for the same reason. You might. Let me give an example. NFL. I'm in the NFL. People that have been around the NFL, you might think NFL players love to go play in the NFL because they love the game and they're big football fans. I didn't even grow up watching the NFL. I did not grow up watching the NFL. But what happened for me was I applied myself to football and found that I had success in it. I found that I loved the competition. I loved the ability, like I said earlier in this, to express my ambition, to want to go succeed. It was an opportunity for me to compete and try to win. It wasn't even about the game. I played a ton of sports growing up. I was a bull rider, bass fisherman, wrestler, baseball. I did it all. And so for me, football was my best, and I loved that about it, that I was just the best at football. It wasn't even because of the legends and stuff like that. And then I have people on my team that they've watched football for forever, and they can tell you everything about the history. What I'm getting at here is the end point is still the same. You might want to be in real estate or in tech or in a great mother or whatever it is, and you're comparing yourself to some type of end point, but really the path comes down to what you want to do. The path is, you define your path. So don't compare yourself to others. Compare yourself to the progress that you're making. As you were saying, compare yourself to yourself. And because when you do that, you don't get blinded by, well, I need to fit this certain model of how to get this. That's not how life is. You make your own model. You definitely have to have a North Star. You have to have that vision, but you create the path to get to that. And so I think that's important to differentiate, because I hate when people, especially rookies, come in and they look at me and they talk to me about all the stuff I have going on. And it's like, dang, Austin, how are you doing all this? Or even people like, dang, like, how do you, like, a foundation, app, real estate fund, like all this stuff going on, websites. I'm an executive of the NFLPA. It's like, well, whoa, calm down. When I first got in as a rookie, all I could think about was, how do I play football? Like, how do I just be good at my job right now? And then it started to expand, and I found my own path and created my North Stars and went and started pushing towards those. So I'll digress there, but just make sure you find it in the way that suits you the best. Definitely have a North Star. As far as even it is. So I'm going on a tangent now again. One more
Oh,
time.
it's great.
The North Star doesn't even have to be, I want to make it to the NFL. I want to be that. The North Star, like for me, isn't that. I didn't even think about it. The North Star was, I want to be better and have more capabilities than I did before. And what does that mean? You get to define that. For me, it meant mentally, it meant physically, because I was in a physical sport, and it meant socially, it meant economically. And so these are things that I've been focusing on. How do I continue to increase my capability to execute the things that I want to do? How can I increase my strength? How can I increase my network? That's why I'm coming on shows like this. That's why I go meet people out. I'm on the East Coast. What have I been doing out here? I've been talking to as many people as I can. Hey, do you have anyone that I should meet out here on the East Coast? Let me know. And so I've been tapping into my network to build my network, because I want to build and I want to learn from people. And that's what I wanted to do. But it all started out so small. So don't be discouraged, because it's baby steps. It's step by step. And then for you guys that are listening, you might be further ahead along with your, whatever it is with you, or you might be further behind. But the next step, when you get going, always just seems like the next step. And last tangent, I promise.
Keep going, brother.
This is
It's
a great,
awesome.
this is a great analogy. So in the weight room, I have been working out for so long. I am like extremely strong. I have been super compact. And this is a great analogy that applies to kind of just steps in life and on your progress towards things. And I'm glad I'm getting to share the story. It's the first time ever. I've been thinking on this one for a while. But
Yeah.
so I was trying this challenge. I do like challenges with weights and stuff like that, where I was going to do one pull up with 200 pounds, a 200-pound dumbbell, which is a very, very large dumbbell.
Yes, it
And
is.
for someone who's never done a pull up, or maybe can't even do one pull up, that might seem so crazy to you. But for me, it was the next step, because I've been working out for so long. I've built myself up. I can do it with 180. I can do it with 190. For me, the next step is just doing it with 200 now. And it's the same thing when you go back to any career, any path that you're trying to go down. Like if you look at, oh my God, Austin's lifting with 200 pounds. I can't even do one pull up yet. Well, you're comparing different things here. Like you got to start. Your next step is just holding on to the bar. Like you just got to hold on to the bar and just hold there. Like that's the next step for you. And it's the thing is, for me mentally, it's the same thing as you trying to hold on to the bar, that being your next step, as it is for me trying to do the 200-pound. It's just the next step, because I've built my capabilities up to be able to handle that and do that. So when you take a step back, right, we're just doing the same thing. We're just at different parts in the path and in the journey. So,
Brother, we've done a lot of things together. We've collaborated a bunch of times. I've never seen you like this. Is unbelievable. But what you're saying is so profound. And there's an expression. It's kind of corny, but it's true. And that is that comparison is the thief of joy. But everybody is on different levels of their particular path and journey. So
very true.
even like someone else's level 4 is not the same as Austin's level 4, because you're
Correct.
on different paths. So everybody should be looking to get to their next level of expansion. And you mentioned when you were a rookie in the NFL, you had one desire, and that was to be the best that you could be at football. And as you continue to grow and evolve and expand, then you were able to have multiple desires without diluting them, so to
Yeah.
speak. Yeah.
And let me chat about that a little bit too, because it leads into how I got into all these other endeavors. So I went to school for business, and I used football to pay for school. And I thought I was going into business, and then I got an opportunity to go play in the NFL, and I exerted all my energy into that. So now I'm a rookie in the NFL. Now this is a huge opportunity, but for me, I really immersed myself in it because I was really self-aware of how big this opportunity was. This was not just this was an opportunity to get me to the next opportunity, just like yours is right now with you listening. Whatever you have right now is your opportunity to get you to the next one. This one just for me came with a ton of baggage. If you get into this NFL thing, it's a very elite club. And so it was like, okay, how can I get myself established? But at the same time, I was also very active in watching YouTube videos on real estate. And I was extremely active in learning. And I was also talking with some house flippers out in Colorado, where I'm originally from, just about, hey, like, what are you guys seeing right now? This is back in 2016. Like, what's going on? 2017. What's going on? Like, you guys like, they have the We Buy Ugly Houses franchise. And I was like, I'm looking to get into some house flipping. I want to find some multifamily. But in the meantime, fully on football, but just on the side, I'm just learning. And sure enough, I get myself established, go to my next year. It's not like I made a crazy amount of money. You definitely make a lot of money in the NFL, absolutely. But I didn't sign a multi-million-dollar deal, so I'm still okay. Like let's save some money, live a little bit more frugal, coming out of college still. So I'm still in that same mindset. I'm like, okay, I want to buy an asset. But what I had done is I had learned enough to where I was like, I don't know everything, but I know enough to talk the language and get started. And so I went back to my house flipper, my connection that I made. And I was like, hey, if you ever flip a duplex, I would love to get a deal from you and buy it in the future if you want to go seek one out. So they went and sought out a duplex, and they knew they had a buyer. So I got a deal with them, and boom, I bought my first duplex. And like all the while I'm focusing on football, but like this is where it started to build, right? It was so small. Started with learning, then I was able to talk the language. I had a connection. I used that connection. I executed my first ever deal, and then just keep fast forwarding and compounding that over and over and over again. Now have a few hundred units now, and so that's how it started. Though it was just very small, and then continued to build. But it's just a good example of, yeah, I had my main thing, which I still am committed to football and building in football. But then I was like, oh, I'm really interested in this. Let me learn about this. Let me connect in this. And I grew basically on my tree that I was growing. I built another branch that started to gain some traction and continued to grow as well.
So good, brother. You have so many different things going on now. What are you most excited about right now?
Wow. So, so excited right now for my new experience app. So, long story short, I've been wanting to find a better way to connect with fans, and not just for me, but for others as well. Because if you look at the industry of sports, there are tons of different businesses that extract value from the fans: sports betting, media, jersey sales, like trading cards, all these that, hey, those companies are making a ton of money, and a little to none trickles actually back to me. I make zero money on DraftKings that has a whole industry built on sports. And so I have been creating a system where, let me create a tech company that gives value back to the players and to the fans, because that's what the root of all of sports is the players. And so what we do is make it efficient for fans and athletes to actually do different types of fan engagements. So for instance, if you wanted to, ask me about my workouts, talk to me about fantasy football. If you wanted me to shout out somebody for a birthday, if you wanted to share a story with me about how you're a fan with me, like just giving access to me in a safe manner that's manageable for me in my time and my schedule being a professional athlete, that's what I'm working on, because it takes a very particular type of tech to be able to basically manage for athletes. It can't be athletes you have to go on and do everything yourself. So we're partnering with schools or whatever institution is looking after that team, and it's called Experience. Experience will live within them, and then they'll manage it. Sorry, my AC just kicked on. The team will manage it and manage all of these interactions and market and push to the fans of where they can go and interact with their actual team. So it's a tech platform built around fan engagements.
One of the things I've seen you do better than anybody, specifically in the NFL, is you really embrace the whole fantasy football thing and realize that it's more than just fantasy football. There's a connection. You're building a community as opposed to an audience. And I
Yeah.
imagine that was probably part of the DNA that made you want to create this vehicle where you can organize, connect with the fans and so forth and
Yeah.
build a community.
So one thing that I am trying to brand myself as, it's something that's really near and dear to my heart is building community. Like I want to be known for, oh, Austin, yeah, that guy, he builds communities, right? Like something like that. Like that's what I want to be known for. And I think that's been branded in me because I came from a small community where there was a lot of love and support. And then I went to another small community from high school to college and was in another small community. So I felt that same love and support. And so I think what that did for me was it made me feel like I can go out and conquer and I can go out and build and I have support and there's people behind me that are rooting for me. And then I went to LA and I felt that same thing, but it wasn't manageable at that point because now there's people everywhere that want to interact or want a jersey or want this and that. And it's like, whoa. And so what did I want to do? Well, I set out to, okay, I started my foundation. I'm like, let me put resources back into the community so that it can bring people together, that make sure everyone has the resources, like washers and dryers in Watts, California, where the number two reason people weren't coming to school was they didn't have clean clothes. And so it's like, okay, let's bring these kids to school so they can do their laundry. Let's bring them together. Weight rooms. I love weight rooms. So I've been renovating weight rooms, bringing people together, give them a space that's clean, they're proud of. It's safe environment to learn transitional skills in your life at a young age. Experience. It's helping people like myself really connect with the fans that want to connect with us. And it goes on. I have another website called Pro Athlete Ventures where I share NFL players off the field endeavors so you can hear about what they have going on off the field. Because to you as a fan or you as a person that's in sports betting, you might see me as a widget, but actually I make a big impact as well. It's not only me. You're just hearing about me. There's also hundreds of us that are doing stuff like this. Maybe not to the degree I am, maybe even more to the degree I am. And so I'm sharing those stories across the world. So everything that I am about is really around community. Even doing media stuff like this, how can I continue to help other people hopefully become a better version of themselves? Well, it takes me get out here speaking what I believe in, speaking how I've been able to continue to push in my life and find fulfillment. And so that's what I'm trying to brand as.
It's working, brother. You have such a beautiful zest for life. And
I appreciate that.
quite frankly, it's so fun to watch. And you're just getting warmed up in the grand scheme of
Just
things.
getting warmed up, man.
Before we land the plane, we'll have a little fun, quick rapid fire.
Yeah.
When you hear the title "Playing Small is Canceled," you ask me, what does that mean to you?
Playing small is canceled. I was a little skeptical at first, and maybe still am, because playing small, like I asked you what that meant, and you meant the cancel culture of not going out and trying things. You gave me some clarity around, okay, it's about empowerment, it's about taking the first step, and I really like that. I just don't want people to think that it's like, oh, you have to make it everything to the moon, right? Because there's processes. Like you can take it to the moon, but you got to make sure that you start with the right steps. So that's what I would say is on the title. Like, don't take thinking small. Don't take canceling thinking small for meaning, oh, you need to go and do everything to the biggest that it can possibly be. You can absolutely do that, but you need to do it within your means.
Maximize your own capacity, individual.
Love that. Well said.
Yeah, beautifully said, brother. Love you. Always fun to get together with you. Two quick things. How
Yep.
can everybody get involved with the app and experience all the things?
Yeah, so we're in alpha mode right now, and we're testing with a couple of universities. And so that's where we're at right now. It's not open to the public like it used to be. But within hopefully the next month or two, I'll be back on there. I know I had a tremendous amount of support and people asking me questions about everything jerseys and my journey and football and entrepreneurial life. So hopefully hoping that up in about 2 months. And so experience.io is where you can check it out. And it's spelled like my last name. My last name is Ekeler and it's EKS. So everyone calls me Ek in the locker room. I go by Ek. So it's experience, EKSPERIENCE.io.
I love it. And we'll put all that in the show notes. And we're going to repurpose this conversation because it was awesome everywhere. Real quick before we go, rapid fire, maybe one or two
Yep.
word answers, whatever comes to mind. You ready for me?
Yep.
Okay. Favorite movie?
Oh gosh, I don't watch movies, man.
There's got to be
I don't know. I don't. My last favorite movie that I ever watched was Step Brothers, which was a long time ago.
classic. It's a good
Classic.
comedy right there. Your last meal on earth would be?
My last meal on earth would be king crab legs, steak, spaghetti and meatballs, ice cream, tacos, some Chinese food, lo mein, um, and some cookies.
That's
That's
the
my last.
best answer I've. So that right there is exactly what I mean by playing small is canceled.
The last meal, I got to go all in. Give me everything. I need it all. Right?
100%. A couple quick last ones. Favorite workout?
Leg day.
Hmm. Favorite book?
10x is easier than 2x.
Hmm. This one I'm actually very excited to ask you. Your favorite musician?
Favorite musician. Well, so it depends on the mood. Depends on the mood that I'm in. And there's one song in particular. It's called Ambitions by Meek Mills and Rick Ross that got me through a lot of my time in college when it was grind time. So that one, it's on one of my college highlights. I always go back to that. Like right before I get on anything in the morning, I'll put that on in the background, and it's like gets me. It's just like my what conditions me to get in the zone.
Yeah, and you. I think you also just recently posted a piece of content with that song on it. It's
I
awesome,
did, yeah, I did. Look at this guy, he knows.
brother. This was amazing. I want you to know the definition of grit, self-belief, and authenticity. I could personally guarantee that your best is yet to come. Thank you so much for stopping by today and dropping these priceless, juicy nuggets.
Absolutely. Thanks, Craig.
That was awesome. Hang out for one sec, brother.
Okay.